Hi friends, and I'm Samir, and welcome to my second Hibernate tutorial. And in today's tutorial I'll be going to show you how to use the Hibernate framework to actually select the data from the database table, update it, and delete a record. I will also be showing you how to create a new table using Hibernate framework directly instead of using the SQL query. So now let's begin. This is the last program we did in our last tutorial where we wrote a program to insert a data into a database table. Now let's see the existing data in my database table. Select asterisk from employee, run. I have two records with ID 9 and ID 10, and it contains both the record contains the same value. Now I'm going to write a program to select the data from my database table and display it. Now the configuration file and the mapping file remains the same. The configuration file, I have removed the transaction, one line of code for the JDBC transaction, because it's not necessary, and everything remains the same and we don't need this. So I just have in my configuration file, I have connection to the database, I have auto commit set to false, and I have the SQL query generated. For displaying the SQL query, I have three properties, and then I have my mapping file set to emp.hbm.xml, and this is my configuration file, and my Hibernate mapping file is just the same as it was for my first tutorial, and I'm going to be using the same table which we created in the first tutorial, and update the record, delete the record, and select the record from the same table. So beginning this tutorial, first I already have an insert employee.java class in where we can insert the data in our class. Now I'm going to create a new class where I can select the data from my database table. So I say new class, and the class name is going to be select employee emp, and it's going to have a public static void main, and then I'll finish it. Now I have a new class and I have to write the new class. Now first thing I have to write is the configuration. Like I said, the four lines remains the same, the four objects: the configuration, the session factory object, the session object, and the transaction object. So I'm going to copy this 5 lines of code and copy it and paste it in my select program. Now that I have copied this 5 lines of code, configuration object is used to configure my Hibernate file, and then I have the session factory which contains a pool of connections, and then the session factory where I can specify whether I should update, delete, or save the data. And then finally I have transaction objects which specifies if I have to commit the transaction or I have to roll back, etc. So I have these 4 objects copied from my first program, the insert employee.java program, and paste it in my select employee.java program. Now going further, what I'll be doing here is I want to load a record in my employee Pojo class. My employee Pojo class, it's here, employee.java. It contains ID, name, mobile, email. Now I want to load this record, the 10th record, in my Pojo class. So how I can do that? Now beginning that, first I have to create an employee object. So employee control space employee object emp equals. Now there are 2 methods for actually loading the data in my Pojo class. The first method is the load method, and the second method is called the get method, and these 2 methods are available in the session class. Now I'll tell you the difference between the load and the get method after I explain you, but for now these 2 methods are used to load the data. So right now I'm using the load method, and s.load control space, and it has two arguments. The first argument stands for where am I supposed to load my, it stands for the Pojo class, and my Pojo class is employee, so it's employee dot class. And the second argument stands for the value of the identifier column which I need. Now what do I mean by identifier column? By identifier column I mean the column which I declared using in my Hibernate mapping file using ID. See, all the other columns are created as property, but the primary key column, I created it as ID. So this ID stands for the identifier column. So in the load method, the second argument stands for the identifier column value. So it wants to give this load method wants the user to give some identifier column value. Now I have to in my ID column I have with values 9 and 10, so it wants me to give one of these values. So based on this value it has to load the whole row in my Pojo class. Now for example, if I give ID value 9, so it's going to load this row number 9 in my Pojo class. So I say new, right here, new integer of, I say 10, and also I need to typecast this into employee type, typecast as employee. This is finished. Now it will load the the record in my Pojo class. Now the second method which we had was the get method. Now the difference between the load and get I'll show you in a while. Now with this the loading is done, and I actually have my record now loaded in my employee Pojo class. So for displaying I use the methods emp dot provide public static print system dot out dot print capital S system dot out dot println, and there I actually run the method get emp dot get, and it's going to be get ID, and then I close it, and then I copy this because I have to repeat this 4 times for the 4 records. Control C and tab and Control V, tab, Control V, and tab, Control V. Now I'm gonna write here get name, get mobile, and lastly get email. Alright, done. This is finished, and then finally I have to close my session object. So as dot close, I don't need to commit any transaction. Now let's run this and check what we get the result as. Now run as Java application, and let's see, save this, and let's see what output we get. See, I'm getting the value of my 10th record, the Hibernate, and it has a record Samir 999 and my email address. Now it displayed my 10th record. Now since in my database table I had both records having same values, I'll insert a new record with different values so we get a clear view of what we did. So I'm using my insert employee.java class, and there I'm going to insert a new record with record number ID 11, and name is gonna be Bob, and number is going to be, instead of 9998 it's 888, and Bob some email at Gmail. Now I'm going to run this application, Java application, save this, and it's successfully what you call record is inserted, and we can check that here, run this, and I have the 11th record with these values. Now in my select program I want to display the 11th record instead of the 10th one, so I'm going to change it to 11 here, and I'm going to run it again. Run as Java application, and there you go. Let's see what value we get now. So you are getting Bob 888 Bob's email address, so it's working perfectly. Now the second way you can actually create what you call load the data is using the get method. Now I'm going to show you the difference between the load method and the get method. Now the difference between the get method and the load method is load method should be only used when we are sure that the identifier column which we are going to search here is available in the database table. Because if we enter a value which does not exist in the database table, the load method actually what you call shows an error, unrecoverable error. For example, if I want to search ID 0 which is not existing in my database table, I have only 9, 10, 11, and run this program, I'll get an unrecoverable error. Save it and see my console. I got exception in main thread, not found object exception, and etc. Now what does the get method does it? The get method, if what you call, gives us a null value, so we can actually catch the null exception and handle it. So that's the difference between load and get method. Now if I write get method, I'll get a null exception which specifies that the record which we are searching in our database table does not exist. So whenever we are in doubt that the value which we are searching or the record which we are searching, that value or record does not exist, we must compulsorily use the get method. If we are 100% sure that the column we are going to search, the record which we are going to search, will be there in the database table, we generally use the load method. So now I changed it to my get method, and I'm running the same program, and I'm trying to select what you call record which does not exist in my database table. Now I'm running this as Java application, save it, and then let's see what we get. See, I got null pointer exception, so it clearly specifies that this value does not exist, so I'm getting a null pointer exception. So the logic is, whenever we are sure that the record which we are going to search will be there for us, will be available, then we have to use the load method. If we are unsure that the record will be going to search may or may not be existing in the table, we use the get method, and we have to handle the null exception. Now this is all about get and load method available for us for loading the data in the what you call Pojo class. Now briefly explaining what we did, we loaded a record by using get method or load method. Now I show you get method works for, now I want to see record number 11 which exists in my table. Get and load methods work the same. If the record is existing, I'll get my record properly. So run as Java application, save it, and see, this is the output. I'm getting the value properly. But the only difference is when the record does not exist, we have to use get, means we are unsure of that record may exist or may not exist, we use the get method. If we are sure that the record we'll be searching or looking for, or we are going to load, will be there, then we use the load method. So this is the basic difference between the load and the get method. Now this is all we need to, this is about the select program, and this is the select employee program. Now going further, next thing we are going to do is write an update program to update record in our database. So for that, I'm going to create a new, go to new class, and then I say update employee emp, and it's going to have public static void main, and then I'll finish it. Now the starting this is my select program, and the starting 6 lines of code is going to be the same. Copy this, and I'm going to paste it in my update program. Tab and Control V. Now I am supposed to load the record. You know what this is for. This line is for loading the record, which I used in my last program for selecting. Now I have to load a record which I am going to update. So for example, I want to update my record number 10, and I want to change my mobile number to 0. Now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to load the record which I want in my Pojo class. So this is how we load the data. We have the get method and the load method to load the data in our Pojo class. So right now I'm using get method, and the record number which I want to load is, the identifier value is 10. So I'm loading this, and this is loaded by this line. Now I want to update it. So what I do simply is emp dot set mobile, and I'm going to set it to 0 and finish. Then I have s dot update emp, and then tx dot commit, and then I have s dot close finally, and finish. This is all I need to do. Whatever column I need to update, I have to write the object. I have to update it in my Pojo class. Like I wanted to update my mobile, so I used my Pojo class object and updated the mobile value in my Pojo class. And then finally I say s.update, and it actually creates an update query. Now if you see, we have s.save, we have save or update, and we have update. Alright, so if you remember, in our insertion program we used s.save. Now what save does, it actually always creates an insert query. Whenever I use the session object save, session method save, it creates an insert query and inserts something in my database table. For example, I'll show you. I'll insert a new record number 12, and with name John, J-O-H-N, and some value and J. Alright, I'm going to insert this record using save query. So what save query does, it always creates a query. Hibernate framework creates a query which is of insert type, insert into something. Now I'm going to run this program as Java application. This is the first program which we did in the first tutorial, and run as Java application, save them everything, and there you go, you have insert query. Now why do I have insert query is because I used the save statement. Now in my update program, when I'm using an update statement, it always creates an update query. So now I'm updating my run this again. See, I have the 12th one. I'm updating my 10th mobile to 0, right? Yeah, 10th record identifier column value to 0, identifier columns mobile value to 0. Alright, so what I wanted to tell was, update always creates update query, and the save statement as that save always creates insert query. Now I'm running this as Java application, and I'm going to maximize this. See, you have an update query created. Update employee set ename mobile email where ID is 0. Now check whether the values are updated in our database. What I updated was, I updated my mobile 99999 to 0. So I'm going to run again. Alright, run. Alright, so now I have the updated value 0. So this is my update program, and it's pretty much similar to my select program. The only thing is I use s.update to update the value, which I'm interested. And first I set what I do in my update program is, first I load the record which I want to get updated. Now in this case it was my 10th record, or the identifier value of the record which I wanted to update, row which I wanted to update was 10, and I load that row in my Pojo class, and the object name is emp. And then the record which I want to update, or the column value which I want to update, I set it to my desired value, and then I use the session method update to actually create an update query, and then actually update it. I didn't use s.flush over here, but you should use flush. Anyways, s.save, s.close. Okay. s.flush comes after this statement. I just forgot it. s.flush. Alright, and then there you are, and I have updated my 10th column. Run this. Alright, so now flush object is actually used for synchronization with the database. So it is actually very necessary when you're writing some big programs and stuff. So flush actually helps you to synchronize with your database, that is recent values and stuff. And so that's why you should always use the flush method, and this is pretty much the update program. Now the last next program which we are going to do is the delete program, which is, you may guess, similar. And now I say new class, and I'm going to create delete emp class, and it's going to have main method, and I'm going to finish it. Now I'm going to copy the same code, the whole code, and from the starting of the configuration to close of my update program, I'm copying this code and pasting in my delete program. Paste it, and the only thing now, first I have my database table. This is my database table, and I want to know which record I want to delete. For example, I want to delete my record number 9 with mobile 999, the first record. So what I'm going to do, I have to load that record in my Pojo class. So I want to change, I'm loading the 9th identifier value record row in my Pojo class, and then since I told you s.update uses update query, so you may guess s.delete uses delete query. Alright, so now it will the Hibernate framework will create a delete query and will delete the record which is record number 9, the whole row, and that's how you use the delete method. Now run as Java application and save it, and there you go, it created delete from, as I said, it created a delete query. And now if I check my database, I had this row which is going to be deleted when I press the run, refresh it, or in other way I'm going to refresh it. So now the 9th ID row is gone, so it's deleted. Now I want to tell you one thing. As we have seen, the save method first created insert query, and then the update method created the update query, and then the delete method created a delete query. Alright, so now there's another method called save or update method, save or update method, and this method is used like if you want to update something which does not exist, or for example, I'll write this in my update program. It's better this way. I'll leave my delete program to same as it is, and in my update I'll change my update to save or update. Alright, save or update. Alright, and save or update it is, and I'm changing. Now what I'm doing is I want to update my 9th what do you call identifier or ninth row. Now in my database I just deleted my ninth row using my delete program, so it does not exist. So what saver update does is, if my what do you call row which I want to update does not exist, it will create a new row. So let's see, I'm running this as Java application. Alright, okay, and see what happens. Exception in mail, oh, null pointer. Select from employee where employee is. Okay, so load employee, select employee ID, employee name, okay, from employee. Alright, now check my database, run this, and I don't have a value. It didn't insert anything. Now this program just now didn't work because we used save or update method and we are not actually saving it. What save or update method means is, when I'm inserting a data and it actually exists in the what you call database table, it is supposed to be updated. Right now I do not have any what you call integer 9, so I can't load this. Means I can't load an actual value. My employee is, it can't load what is empty. So for that purpose we can't use this way. We have to simply create an employee new and what do you call empty constructor, and then I have to set the ID to what you call now ID to 10 exists. Oh sorry, 9 doesn't exist. Wait, 9, check my 9. Alright, ninth column does not exist, and then I'm going to say emp dot set my name to what you call let's say Brad Pitt. Alright, and set emp dot set my mobile to 11111, and set emp dot set email to bradpitt at gmail.com. Alright, and now what I'm going to do, what this saver update does, it will check if ID 9 already exists in my database table. If it does, it updates or changes the value it has to these values. If it does not, it will create a new one. So based on the choices, it will either create an insert query or either create an update query. So I'm running this program, run as Java application, save it, and it's supposed to create an insert query. Yes, insert into employee ename mobile and this thing. Now check our database, refresh it, and there you go, you have 9th one, ID 9 with Brad 111 and bradpitt at gmail.com. Now what I want to do is, I want to what do you call insert again, set ID 9, and I want to change now name to from Brad to, I'm gonna change it to Brad Pitt. Alright, so now let me see what it does. According to the concept, it should, or it will create what you call an update query, since record number 9 already exists and I'm saying save or update, so it will update what you call changed values, and the changed value is the name. It was Brad before, see, it's Brad here, and now I'm going to change it to Brad Pitt. So I'm gonna run this program as Java application, and this time it will create an update query. Save this and check it out. See, I have update employee set ename mobile email. Now let me refresh this, run this, run this, and there you have my name changed from Brad to Brad Pitt. So this is what you call save or update query is all about. I hope you understood this part. Now moving on, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to create a table which does not exist using the Hibernate framework. Alright, for that we need our configuration file. Now let me close all this, delete, update, select my Pojo class, my insert, and now this is my configuration file. Alright, in my configuration file, so that I can create a table directly using my mapping file. See, everything about my database table is available in my mapping file, like table name, it should be this, and it already exists. But imagine a case where my employee table does not exist in my database and I need to create it. So what I'm telling is, I have enough knowledge about my table in my mapping file so that I can create a table directly. For example, I want to have an employee table. It has a primary key or identifier as ID, column name ID, and which is type integer, so it can understand that it has to be type number, and then name, which is of type string, mobile type long, column mobile type long, email type string. So it has everything, and these are supposed to be the column names if I'm going to create a table using my mapping configurations. Now in my Hibernate.configuration file, I have connection, auto commit, false, and SQL query to be generated, and the mapping file. Now what I'm going to do is I have to insert something, a new property, to actually allow me used creating table. What I'll do first is I'll delete my existing employee table. So I'm writing drop table employee. Alright, and then I run this table dropped, and for right select star from employee, run this. Table does not exist. So now I have deleted my table, and I want to create the table without writing any SQL query but using my Hibernate configuration file or Hibernate framework. So there's a property name called property. Alright, name is Hibernate mapping, alright, to data definition language dot automatic. And now this is the property name, and the property value it can have are two values. The first one is the create value and the second one is the update value, and I'll be telling you the difference between them. So for now we use the create value. Alright, and then what I'll do now is save my file, and then I'm going to go open my insert employee program, and I'll insert record number 1. Alright, set ID 1. Now I'm going to run my insert employee.java, run as Java application. Okay, and let's see what do I get in my console. Insert employee. Now as you remember, I dropped my table in my database, so select star for employee, displayed was table or view does not exist. I'm running this query again, and wait, I should run it second time. Yes, I have one John, mobile 888, the values I just inserted. Now this table was created using the mapping file, the column names and table name I configured in my mapping file, and based on that my table was created and the values was inserted. Now I said just now that there are two values this Hibernate mapping to data definition language can have. The first one was create and the second one is update. Now the create, what it does, whenever I use create, whenever I try to insert something in my existing database table, it deletes everything in that table and inserts a new record. That means I have inserted just now my record number 1, and if I insert record number 2, it will delete the record number 1 and only record number 2 will be there in my table. So it actually deletes the whole thing whenever I run a new query. So for this demonstrating that, I'm inserting record number 2 with name Paul, and then let the mobile be same and say p the gmail.com @gmail.com, and now I'm going to run this. What happened last time was when I inserted data like this, it was just added in my database table. But now since I'm using this Hibernate to data definition language and I'm using its value as create, what it does this time is it drops the old value and it only inserts this new value which I'm inserting now. So run as Java application and save this, and let's see what do I get. This is successful, and let's see our database. Now in general scenario, what used to happen was I used to get the record number 2 with Paul, but now since I use the create value, I'll only get 2. The first record is automatically deleted. So to avoid that problem, we have the second value for this, what you call, where is the configuration file? Okay, configuration file. Alright, we have the second value which is update. Now the update also creates a table the same way as create, but when you insert the next record, it does not create what you call delete the old record. So that's the difference between update and create. Now for checking it out, I'll drop my table again, drop table employee, and run this query and run it. Table dropped, select star from employee. Table or view does not exist. Now what I'll do is I've created this to update. I'm inserting insert employee.java, and as you can see till now we created insert employee.java, select employee, update employee, and delete employee. Now I'm going to set ID 1 first record with name Paul 888p@gmail.com, and I'm going to run this insert program as Java application, save it, and now let's see what values do I get. Now refresh this, run this again. I have record number 1. Now I'm trying to insert record number 2 with name Peter, what do you call Peter, alright, Peter@gmail.com. Alright, and now this is my second record. When I used create, as you people saw, it dropped the old record and it just inserted the new record. But since I'm using update, I'll get both the records normally as insertion has to happen. Run as Java application, okay, and let's see, check the console. What happened? Okay, yeah, it inserted successfully, and now I'm checking out my database using run it again. See, now I have 2 values. So that's the difference between, what do I say, update and create in Hibernate mapping to data definition language automatic. Alright, and so that's all for today's tutorial, and probably in the next tutorial I'll be showing you how to use discriminator, or what you call columns, and have discriminator values. And thank you for watching today's tutorial, and that's it. Thank you.